Coming up next, I'm going to do a little scientific experiment testing the beast mode-ness of these 5 fragrances in my collection to see which one is the ultimate beast mode fragrance of the ones that I think are the best from my collection. So stay tuned to find out which one really is the ultimate beast mode fragrance. Welcome back, everybody, to Joel the Nose, and today I'm doing a little science experiment. For those of you who remember science experiments growing up, or if you have kids, you've relived that horror of doing science experiments, right? So what I've done is in my collection, which is mostly niche, but also some designer and a few clones, like CD Club de Nuit, as some of you have seen my videos. What I've decided to do was pick out 5 of the fragrances that are my most beast mode fragrances. It's a tough one because a lot of them are very similar. I probably could have done more, but I wanted to keep it rather simple and pick out 5 that I know like are beast mode projectors, like projecting out, and also lasting like a long time on my skin. So everything here is going to be over 12 hours on my skin, which is, again, to me, a beast mode fragrance. So what do I have here? Just to show you, what I've got is Uden from Xerjoff. All right, I have, what do we got here? Velvet Desert Oud, excuse me, from Dolce Gabbana. This is from their private label. Then I have Habdan from, of course, Parfums De Marly. Then I have my only clone in here. This is Club de Nuit Intense Man. This is the Eau de Parfum version. All right. And then lastly, I have Desired from Elisire. I need to polish that, by the way, right? Let me just kind of, so it's not so, so it looks a little bit better there without all the fingerprints. Okay, Desired from Elisire. These are, again, my beast mode fragrances. So right here I have 3 niche. Desired, Habdan, and Uden are niche. Club de Nuit is, of course, clone designer fragrance, and then Dolce Gabbana is obviously designer fragrance, but from their private label, so it's more like a niche fragrance. It's not, one of their kind of, department store designer fragrances. So what I did is I sprayed on these strips, these scent strips, like you normally do, and I wrote down the names. So that's Velvet Desert Oud. I sprayed on the back of the strips 3 days ago now. Okay, so I have all 5. For example, here's Uden. So I have all 5 strips here. And I sprayed 3 days ago, 3 sprays on each strip. So again, wanted to keep this science experiment consistent and want to make sure that my results were as accurate as possible. And then what I've done is basically let them sit on a hard, cool space, actually a granite countertop in a cool, dark area. So I didn't want them to be in a hot area or whether there was sunlight on them. That way it would extend and see how, it would help them stay longer because heat and sunlight and all that and hot areas actually reduce the length of the fragrance. So what I did is, just let's get right into this. I'll go from 5 to 1 and tell you which ones, lasted the longest versus the least. I will say this, all of them lasted into the 3-day mark. So I'm talking about full 3 days. I sprayed these at around 6 in the morning on a Monday, yes. And then I basically am now, so then I basically got up, sprayed them at 6 in the morning, checked the next morning at 6 o'clock, which was Tuesday, then Wednesday, and now here I am on a Thursday when I'm filming this video, and this is an interesting result. So coming in at number 5, as far as having the least longevity now at this point, and the least kind of, projecting from this scent strip is Velvet Desert Oud from Dolce & Gabbana. Now, I will say this, it's still there, and it projected and stayed on the strip well over 48 hours, well over 2 days. It wasn't until I get to the 3rd day here and, getting into that mark 3 full days, and I'm over 3 full days now. I'm over basically 72 hours at this point. I'm really at essentially about the almost 80th hour. where it started, now you notice the difference, and the difference in the strips has really kind of shown the separation, because before that, after 2 days, they were all pretty close, although one really stood out the whole way along, but the other 4 were pretty close. So that's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Club de Nuit Intense Man. Oh, by the way, let me show you number 5. Number 5, of course, just to show you the bottle, is Velvet Desert Oud. I have all these in my collection. Coming in number 4 is the Club de Nuit Intense Man Parfum, Eau de Parfum version. Again, it actually lasted extremely long time. These, again, all last over 12 hours on my skin, but this lasted, and it's still, you can still smell it after 80 hours, but it is weaker, and it's a little bit stronger than the Velvet Desert Oud. Coming in number 3, a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought this might be number 1. This is Uden from Xerjoff. This is one of my longest lasting fragrances. So on my skin, this is still one of my, yeah, I guess so. I would say it's one of my top 3. So I guess I'm not really surprised. Sometimes when you actually do the experiments and you look at the data, you think you're surprised and then you realize, oh no. So Uden here on the strip, still actually got a really pretty good smell after 80 hours. So number 2 and 3 were very close. 5 and 4 were definitely kind of, further behind. Number 3 and number 2 here are extremely close, and they're still kicking pretty well after 80 hours. And so let me show you number 2. Number 2 is Habdan from Parfums De Marly. This is number 2. Here's the strip. You can see Habdan written there. It's still, again, it and Uden were very close, and it was kind of a minute difference, but Habdan definitely was a little bit ahead at this 80-hour mark. They're both, again, you can see they're really starting to fade now. Makes sense after 3 days, but they're still there. And again, that's not surprising because Habdan, I knew, would be in my top 2 or 3. It's just a beast mode for me. It projects all day. It lasts all day. When I wear it, I'm smelling it, 6, 7, 8 hours still off of my skin. It's a really beast mode fragrance for me. Coming in at number 1, and I gotta say, this is what I would have predicted at number 1. And again, let me polish the bottle. You know what it is. This is Desired from Elisire. Elisire. This, by far, 100%. I have it right. Here's the strip. This is, by far, my biggest beast mode fragrance. It's still kicking strong at the 80-hour mark, over 3 days now, like way more than the other 4 fragrances. And during the 1-day mark, the 2-day mark, when I was checking throughout the different periods, it was always projecting way more than the others. This one is a 15+ hour, and I don't mean 15 hours where at the end of the 15, it's like kind of barely there. I'm talking this thing kicks. It kicks strong. It projects for 4 or 5 hours on my skin, and it after that, it doesn't sit down to a pure skin scent. It's still like projecting off the skin even after that, like for a good 7, 8 hours on my skin, and I smell it strongly on my skin for over 15 hours. One of my best fragrances in my collection. It's probably my most complimented fragrance at this point. I got this a little less than a year ago, and there's no doubt that when I wear this, I get the most compliments from the ladies, and I would have to say now probably my signature scent, which took over from Zizan by Ormond Jane, which for years was my signature scent. It was my most complimented scent. This one is now in that position. So there you have it. My little home science experiment, like back in 10th grade, or if you have 10th graders, you know what that's like. Pretty cool findings, and I guess, not totally different from what I thought based on my subjective experience. So there you have it. This is JoelTheNose. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. It keeps me motivated to get you guys more content out there. It helps me, obviously. And you can like the video and you can ring the bell for notifications. I hope everybody's doing well, and I will be back soon with another video. Thanks for watching, guys.